All right, what's up, y'all? Gonna do something a little different today. This will be the first video of what will be a weekly segment. Don't know what the name is, don't want to rip anyone off, but we'll be doing it every week at the reset, so it'll be basically the GFG weekly reset or weekend review, whatever you want to call it. Just want to try a new way of getting some updates out to you all. We get a lot of questions regularly. We're always trying to point people to our FAQs and our announcements. Hopefully this will be not a replacement for, answering the questions in chat, doing announcements, just a different format that may reach some folks a little bit better. So overall, things are going really well with the general community updates here. Membership is climbing despite what we're seeing as some overall drops in kind of player activity across various different data sources that have come out. We'll get into that a little bit later. I did want to highlight here as I'm opening my vaults, because it has just reset, the servers have. I did want to update about our YouTube channel. We are regularly or semi-regularly trying to put up some shorts and some various videos. The most recent was we did get an Operation Floodgate unlocking the dungeon episode up. We also have our Akara there, as well as the gearing guide. Whooper's done Nexus King salad bar as a raid guide. Just some general helpful content here, hearing some good things. People are liking these videos, so go and check that out. Leave us some comments, and subscribe, and look for more stuff there. Other than that, also the Twitch stream. We are streaming fairly regularly to Twitch, and it's a really good place to pop in and say hello. There's also some cool stuff for as far as giveaways. I'll get to that at the kind of the end of the video, but if you do have the Prime sub to toss it over there. Helps support the server. Not necessary. There are no perks or benefits other than I just did connect the Twitch channel to the server, so you'll have that your subscriber role will carry across from Twitch to the server. It does not give you any sort of benefit at this time, other than, I'm kind of contemplating the idea of one of the names that I really liked was Azeroth's Social Club. And so maybe having a place where, we can kind of take the banter and the back and forth we see in Twitch chat and connect that with and extend it to the server, and maybe make a channel there, or maybe a voice channel where, you could pop in if you're a sub and say hello to the streamer and kind of participate in the stream in that way. So be on the lookout for that. If you do sub, we may have that channel. Again, it won't be a channel where there's anything that goes on other than just kind of memeing and general, standard shit posting, I guess you would call it. Pop by the Twitch channel, let us know what you think, give us a follow, subscribe if you've got it. Again, everything here is free. You don't need to subscribe, but we appreciate it if you do. The entire goal for both the YouTube and the Twitch is for us to give back to you all. We want to provide content that you all like. When we did the rebrand and server ownership transferred and all of that, we noticed that the first thing we started getting DMs about is, where does the Twitch channel go? Where did the YouTube channel go? So obviously folks enjoy it. They like to watch this content, and to that end, let us know. What do you want to see? What kind of videos do you want to see? What videos are you enjoying? What videos are you not enjoying? Just kind of let us know, help guide us. We're happy to do whatever you all want us to do, within reason. Obviously, I'm not going to shave my head anytime soon or anything like that, but let us know. Speaking of supporting the server, I just want to reiterate to everyone that everything in this server will always be free when it comes to the actual in-game benefits. When it comes to getting into raids, we're not going to ever have any sort of priority in that regard. Nothing's being locked behind Patreons as far as the guides and everything. The benefits of supporting the server are truly just cosmetic, in the form of, if you have server subscriptions, you get access to the champion channel, you get some cosmetics for kind of your name and appearance in Discord. So just generally completely cosmetic, and nothing pay to win. The whole reason for that support is there is a small amount of overhead for the server, and that's the first thing that any support we receive goes towards. Any sort of financials from the server, I mean, obviously it's going to happen. We haven't been super transparent about it in the past, for good reason, but I want to be better about that going forward. And so I'll just say that anything we make is usually always spent. whether that be on, graphics or visuals, whether it be on hosting or, just general overhead. It all goes back in some way to the community, and everything else helps support our charity events, our charity giveaways that we do. It helps to support members or leads that may be in need. In the past, we have helped out there where we can, and just in general, the whole goal is to give back. This community is what it is because of the members, because of the leads, and so that's where the funds go, if there ever are any. I will say that right now, we make very little, so feel confident in that when you support the server, you're supporting something good, and it's going to immediately benefit you or your fellow members through things like giveaways and going towards charity and things like that. If you do want to give back, probably the best way to do so would be subs on Twitch, because that expands our reach and allows us to bring in more members, keep things fresh, have more people find the server and hang out, and so that's always a good thing. Alternatively, if you want to give back but maybe doing so financially isn't what you want to do, we are always happy to receive support for our raids and rosters in the form of feast or feast materials. Please, no gold. We don't need gold donations. If you want to donate in-game, then reagents for potions, flasks, cauldrons, but most of all feasts, because our community runs, we do allow our raid leads to pull feasts out of the guild bank, and you would be surprised how quickly those feasts go. Huge thanks to KG, one of our longtime members and champions and an officer in the guild, for everything he does to help support the feasts. But that is where the feasts come from. When you are in a raid and you see feasts drop, actually members lately have been dropping a lot themselves, but you can donate those feasts to the guild bank and they'll be used. So that is the way you can support the server. One other thing, just want to highlight, and kind of anyone that's new here or wonders kind of where we came from, check out this video. You can search Hearths and Crafts podcast. It's by ShawnSetGo, one of our members. This is 3 weeks ago it was posted, but still some good information. We talked a little bit back and forth about why the community is here, the kind of mindset of raid leads, and why it's difficult for us to meet the demand of raids sometimes. Just overall general real fun podcast, and it was a good time to be on that podcast with Shawn. So go check that out, give him some love if you desire. Moving on, speaking of raid updates, the theme of this season seems to be just super fast progression. We're moving along at kind of breakneck speed. Player power is higher than ever. The raid seems to be a bit better balanced. There's not as many wall bosses. Good riddance to Sticks and Muggsy. I think that really kind of put a damper on things and kept things moving a little bit slower last season. And then obviously in Nerebar Palace, we didn't have turbo boost, we didn't have a lot of the kind of player power increases that we have now, and so Nerebar Palace was obviously a little bit harder. I think we started community AOTC runs in week 7 or 8, maybe even later, 8 or 9. In season 1, we started them around season 7 to 8ish. We had a few early kills, but those were very kind of, I don't want to say cherry picked groups, but we definitely had to bump up the requirements to get through some of those wall bosses and to get through some of those phases of Gallywix before the nerfs. So we're going really quick this season. We see the complaints or feedback about needing more heroic back half learners, about needing more heroic expresses, things like that. It feels like the season is moving quicker because the season is moving quicker, but it's at a decent pace, and just have a little bit of patience with us. Those AOTC runs will come. Things are just going a little bit fast right now. So that's the kind of brief update there. Also, we are soft launching the Raid Lead Academy this week, in the sense that we are kind of going through with a cohort of trial leads. I think we have around 15 or so Raid Lead applicants that will start receiving DMs from our Raid Lead Academy staff, and we'll start moving those folks through the process to kind of hopefully help with the demand. If you're interested in raid leading, please do fill out an application. You can get the link to that application by typing !leader in chat channels within the Discord. But that is a big pickup there. Woo. God, I got distracted because I got such an awesome piece of gear in the old vault. Also want to highlight that the final season of the expansion is always going to have a little bit of a drop off. People have been playing for 2 seasons now. There's always that kind of waiting or holding pattern going into the next expansion, where I imagine, you know, Blizzard, they've put out some content for us, but the main focus for Blizzard currently obviously is Midnight. And so we're going to see kind of a taper off. We're already seeing it in some of the data that's been reported. So you might see a little less activity. The interesting thing about the server is our organic growth continues to go up, even though we're not actively recruiting anywhere. And so what you'll see is that the demand we're feeling in how fast the raids fill up and things like that, it can stay pretty steady, but then we will see that, you know, some of our leads take breaks and stuff like that. And I think overall that's a good thing, even if it does kind of hurt a little bit here at the end of the season, to have kind of steady demand and maybe some leads are taking breaks. We'll do everything we can to try to fill those gaps and to kind of keep things moving along as best we can. But at the end of the day, it is most definitely a situation where it is better to have leads that are, you know, excited and ready to go for the next expansion. You know, we want to have a huge, super active, awesome launch to Midnight. And if that means that some of our leads have to take breaks now, then I think that that is preferable. I did want to mention something because we've seen it pop up in raid chat here and there. We've seen some kind of feedback on it. Keep in mind that our raid leads do this all just volunteer. No one is paid. There are no perks or benefits at all to being a raid lead within the server. It's just something they enjoy. And to that end, you know, if you join a raid, or maybe you didn't get into a raid and you notice on stream that like there were a few people pre-invited and stuff like that, we do try to keep that to a minimum. We ask our raid leads to fill first come first serve. There are multiple reasons that someone may have been pre-invited to a raid. Just know that we keep track of it, that we are definitely monitoring it, and that in every single situation possible, we will fill the raids first come first serve whenever possible. Sometimes that may not be possible. Sometimes we might need a tank because there is a difficult fight that requires at least one tank to be someone dependable that we know knows the fight. Sometimes we may have a couple of healers to kind of just help make things a little smoother. Sometimes we're looking for a specific comp, or we need a specific class. There's a lot that goes on when these leads fill the raids, so just keep that in mind and have a little bit of patience for our leads. I promise you, there is no mass pre-inviting. It is all first come first serve, with a few caveats, with a few special considerations, chief of which that I think often is overlooked again is that our raid leads do this for free. And I personally, you know, it's my personal opinion, and I think some of the other admins and mods would share this opinion. You know, it's a video game, and these leads are doing this for free, and everyone wants to play with their friends, right? If we were being paid for this, it would be a different story, but everyone wants to play with their friends. It is okay for a few people to, you know, get an invite to the raid because of a friendship with the raid lead. That keeps the leads around. You know, overall, there is more burnout, and it would be, you know, a much worse as far as the number of active leads and raids if we were to really crack down and say like no pre-invites, no inviting your friends, only first come first serve for all 30 slots. I promise you there is no raid that is half full or even a quarter full before we start to do first come first serve. There are times where I have not gotten into Whooper raids, and I am married to Whooper. So, you know, there are times where I've sat out and not applied to Whooper raids because I know how popular the raid is going to be, and because I feel bad using that kind of real life relationship to get into a raid. But I feel like that should be a pretty reasonable thing, you know, for me to be able to raid with my wife. And likewise for other leads to be able to raid with their friends. That keeps people around longer, means they run more raids, And overall, I think you'll find it's a much more fun experience when you do get into those raids. If there's some banter going on, if there's some, you know, good back and forth between the leads and their friends, it kind of makes things feel lively. So just have some patience. If you do feel there is something untoward's happening, if you do feel like there is some sort of favoritism, or maybe not favoritism, but the opposite, I'm blanking on what word that would be, but like a grudge, if you think you're being passed over for a specific reason, please open a mod ticket, address it there. We will investigate. We investigate all complaints. Leave a feedback if you wish anonymously, and we will investigate that. That is what our mods and admins do. We very actively look at feedback. We very actively respond to issues and complaints. That is the place to bring those up, is in tickets or the feedback forum. Like I said, our leads are volunteers. Try to keep things like public call outs and, you know, issues and frustrations to a minimum in the channels, because they are trying to run the raid. If you made it in, you would not want their attention being kind of pulled away, or you wouldn't want them kind of distracted by maybe some negativity that could be deserved, but also very likely could not be deserved. Soapbox over, on to Mythic Plus. Similar to Raid, things are moving very, very quickly. I'll drop my WoW screen and pull up this article here on Wowhead. Go check it out. Very surprising data here. We're seeing that, I mean, this graph here, unreal how many keys are being done at 10 and above. We have seen feedback come through. We've seen complaints. We've seen people talking about how maybe, you know, the lower key channels are feeling pretty slim, like things are difficult to get a group at those lower levels. And it's just because overall in the game, we are already at a point, I mean, this is week 4, and you can see that there are so many, right here, you know, 70% of all Mythic Plus runs are plus 10 or higher. I mean, that is just... it's crazy. It's crazy how many runs are being done at such a high level. I think these dungeons are accessible. They're well balanced and well tuned. Classes are performing well, and there's so much player power right now that it's just really, it's going quickly. And so to that end, if you have not done portals in the past, if you have not pushed higher keys, now is as good a time as any to maybe branch out and step into those. You know, give it a try. The only caveat to that is, you know, make sure that you've done your homework. Make sure you know the pulls. Make sure you know that in these higher keys, you need to use your defensives, your utility, meaning your interrupts and your stuns and crowd control, and at least have done the dungeons at some level higher than, you know, a 2, right? So that you at least kind of know the dungeons, know the routes, and know what to expect. But having done all those things, done your homework and your preparation, you know, feel free to stretch a little. Maybe you haven't done 10s in the past. Like I said, player power now is higher than it's ever been, and it might be a good time to branch out and jump into some of those higher keys. You know, speaking of filling the groups via the channels, like I said, we've heard those complaints about things being less active. That is because there has been a drop off. You can see here that this graph is kind of hard to see, but things are dropping off a little faster than we've seen previously, other than maybe Dragonflight season 4 had a big sort of drop off, but things are kind of trending down. That's okay. That happens. Like I said, it always happens with the final patch of an expansion. And so when those things drop off, obviously our server is a representation of the player population, and so you will see things kind of drop off. So that, combined with, you know, these insane numbers about what keystone levels are being done, those two things coupled together means that sometimes your keys aren't going to fill as fast, or sometimes you're not going to see as many keys posted. The only advice I can offer is, if you're wanting to do some of those lower keys, try to put a group together yourself. You know, get the key, post it in the keys channels, and you may have to fill with a combination of pugs and community members. Keep in mind, this community is a pug community, so if you have to find some people with the in-game group finder, invite them to Discord, let them know you're hanging out in Mythic Plus 5, and they can join in voice. A pug that is not in the server is just a member that hasn't clicked the invite link yet, right? So keep on chugging along. If you want to do those lower keys, you know, take the initiative to try to put together the group yourself, and maybe through that you find some more kind of regular members that also like to do some of those lower keys. When you are filling keys, though, especially with the fact that we have added a 15 plus range and changed the 12 to 14, or changed the 12 plus range to be 12 to 14. Just wanted to highlight that, you know, go grab these rolls. We do get complaints sometimes about the quality of players in these bigger keys. Sometimes we get complaints or tickets or direct messages or feedback forums about, you know, so-and-so tried applying for this key and we bricked it because they had never done a 7. Like they had only ever done 7s and they applied for a 13. Or they showed up and they weren't enchanted and gemmed and they had, you know, low item level. You know, we will police toxicity and elitism. So if you have someone that comes in and they are toxic, they are elitist, or they're otherwise, you know, doing things that are against the morals and ethos of this server, then that is definitely something to bring to our attention. And that is something that we will act immediately on. However, when you are filling in these bigger groups, keep in mind that this server, kind of our morals and our ethos for the server, our values, is patience and accessibility and vibes over performance. The higher you go in keys, though, the more important it becomes that performance is up to par. Vibes starts to take a back seat to performance when you get to these higher key levels. And to that end, it is up to the person forming the group to make sure that the people you're inviting are capable of doing 12s and above. It is okay at these higher levels to start telling people you're looking for someone with a little more experience. Please feel empowered to do that. Invite the people you need for the comp that you need and for the, you know, key level and the performance that you need. Do it in a kind way and make sure to point them to you know, the DPS chat or to other areas where they can get help to get up to that level if they need to. But overall, while I may say in like the 4 to 6 range or even the 7 to 9 range, you're still kind of prioritizing vibes. And, you know, maybe if you don't time it, that's okay. That's fine. You know, you're just looking to complete it maybe. And maybe you're going to be a little more lenient on who you invite at these levels. When you get to 12 to 14, it is okay to tell someone no. That is fine, because at those higher levels, it is difficult. You have to have people that are using stops. You have to have people that are using their interrupts and their defensives. And that is not something that every single player does. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. There are some exciting things in the works for keys. I think our key moderators, Black and Sar, as well as our Mythic Plus leads, are working really hard to put together some new things, some new concepts. So be on the lookout for that. I won't draw their ire by spoiling anything or teasing anything that may not come to fruition, but I'm really excited about what they've got going on and what they have in the works. The one thing I'll say is we need support to do more on the keys front. We need support. We need more key or Mythic Plus leads. And so if you are someone that does keys and maybe that's what you enjoy, and you are, you know, a friendly person and capable and willing to lead a group or to lead an effort, whatever it may be, then you can apply that same place. Type !leaders in chat. I'll do it here in Spam Baron's chat so that everyone can see it. That will give you the link to the forum where you can apply, and you can apply as a Mythic Plus lead there. So this week is a dungeon week. That means you're going to get an additional item off of the final bosses in each dungeon. Also with that, you're going to get a free heroic piece if you do 4 dungeons on Mythic difficulty. That can be Mythic Zeros, or Keystones will also count. As well, this week is a Spark week, so you should be able to get 4 full sparks, which means you can craft 4 pieces of gear. Those pieces can be crafted at 720 if you have the gilded crests for it. They start at 691, I believe, and then 704, I think, is the runed crest level. So that is a huge boost to player power, having those available. If you do not know about it yet and have not done it yet, I'll just highlight that you can kill Dimensius on any difficulty level. If you have completed all the campaign missions up to that point, there's a quest giver here on the map that will give you a quest to kill Dimensius. It will reward a runed crest. So make sure that before you spend your valuable ruined crests here to buy one, that you have done that to get that free crest. You also, I'm well behind on my reputation, but there is also a ruined crest at level 20 of the Crest Trust. So, like I said, very strong week for player power. You're going to have, 4 crafted pieces or 2 crafted pieces and a 2-hander. If you're a class that uses 2-handers, or I don't know who would do this. I guess maybe if you're a warrior and you want to really zug, you could craft 2 2-handers. Or maybe a druid that wants a staff for feral and a staff for resto or balance, or maybe a hunter that wants to play survival and BM or marks, and so you want a gun as well as a spear or polearm or whatever. Maybe that's the case. So really good week, really strong week for player power at the free heroic cache, with 4 sparks this week. Last week marked the week that we could get our 4 catalyst charges. And so everyone should have 4 set. Everyone should have good crafted pieces. Everyone should have at least 1 heroic from this weekly that we have. It's going to be crazy. We're going to see a lot of progress this week, I think. We have given away one of our 4 copies of the Epic Edition of the new expansion, Midnight. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty in getting that to the winner, but that's just something on our end. They will get it, I promise. We have 3 more to give away. As a reminder, those giveaways trigger every 25 subs. So if you have your Bezos bucks available, your Prime sub, then feel free to drop that on the stream. We have updated the subscriber benefits there to have some emojis that you can use across Twitch. I like using them, but I'm an emoji spammer. So if you guys also like using them, feel free to sub. The giveaway point, those 25 subs, that is just a trigger point so that we have a better idea of when to trigger the giveaway. It does not give you any priority or preference. The amount of tickets you can earn to enter the giveaway, you get 1 for free by typing !enter in the Twitch chat, and the amount of tickets that you can earn is completely based on time watching. I think subs do get the channel points a little bit faster, but the giveaway tickets are capped. So there is virtually no benefit that the subs get when it comes to that giveaway. It is just a trigger point. Saying that because I have to always make sure everyone knows this. There are no benefits to supporting the server or the community in any way other than cosmetic benefits through like emotes and stuff like that. We also have been given 3 12-month game time codes. These are NA only, unfortunately. Huge thanks to the donor of these codes. I forgot to ask them before making this video if they wanted to remain anonymous or not. So out of respect for them, I will not share their name, and I'll touch base with them. And if they are okay with me sharing the name, I would love to give them a shout out at a later date. Not sure how we're going to give away those yet, but I imagine it'll likely be closer to our holiday charity giveaway. Or holiday charity event, sorry. So we'll think of a cool idea for like a marathon or stream event to kind of generate some hype and give out the game time. So be on the lookout for more details related to that. Or better yet, give us some ideas. What do you want to see? Sky's the limit. This community is y'all's. It is for you. And so let us know how you want that to go. Let us know what you want to see. Within reason. I don't think I'm going to be shaving my head anytime soon. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see how the charity event goes. And then just as a reminder, the giveaway is the reason for pushing some of this stuff for, posting our videos and trying to get more subs is really to grow the channel for 2 reasons, and neither of which are tied to any benefit to leadership. The first is to get us back to where we were with our old channels before the rebrand. That way we can have a really robust and exciting charity event this holiday season. That's a huge thing that all of us are really proud of and like to do, is those charity streams and the charity events. And so we want to make sure that we generate enough hype that we can really make an impressive impact in those areas. And then the second is just to help give back to our leads, members, and the community overall. This community is a really, really special place, and we want to keep making it better. We wouldn't be anything without our members, and so we just want to reach more. We want to get more members. The more reach we have, the more people we find that become just pillars of this community, and that is the goal, to reach more people with our content, both so that they benefit from our guides, they benefit from joining our raids, they benefit from a refreshed love of the game, and then also because the community benefits from having those members, because community is nothing without the members. So that's it for this week. Let us know in the comments what you want to see more of, and if we missed any big news or updates. Like I said, it was pretty slow on kind of the update side of things this week for the game, but more exciting stuff coming through the community. We want to make this place as good as we can. We want to make it better and continue to make it better. So let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want more of, what you want less of, and I'll see you out there. Thanks all.